Thanks to Kevin for that talk, and we're going to move on now to our next one, which is titled The Treasure, which is Privacy. So joining us will be a contributor to Wasabi Wallet and also the CEO of ZK Snacks. Everybody, please put your hands together and welcome Max Hillebrand.
There's a treasure, which is privacy. It's something that's not commonly talked about and very often misunderstood, but it's something quite important. It's one key reason of why Bitcoin works, and Bitcoin is one key reason why we're all here today. So what is this treasure, and can we find it? Privacy is all about choice. It is the choice for you to selectively reveal yourself to the world, or to whomever you choose. This is an ability that is just fundamental to the nature of being human. We make choices every day. Choices to come to a Bitcoin conference and choices to meet our friends here and hang out, have fun. But these choices also have consequences. And when we make our choices ourselves, then we can live with the consequences because, well, we signed up for it. But if other people start making choices for us, then we are no longer accountable. We no longer have the skin in the game to actually reflect on what we have done and learn from it and improve. When other people make choices for us, this means that we're no longer as free as we would like to be. And so how can we be affected in ways that might not be to our best interest? And this, of course, comes always in communication with other people. We're quite a communicative and social species, and we like to talk and speak with others and listen to others. But that also means that we get influenced by others. We get new ideas, and these are some that affect us and affect our choices and our actions. So curating which information we take in and carefully evaluating then the accuracy of this is part of human life and part of our action that we do every day. So this means that when interacting with others, we have the ability to, well, act or not, and to speak with them about the topics that we like. But there are tools that help us in this environment to manifest the choices that we would like. And these tools give us options that other tools do not. And with the use of tools, we can continue experiencing more about our surroundings. So tools still have to be built, though. And building these tools and technologies is the tasks of entrepreneurs and the people here in this room on Industry Day. We're builders of tools that other people can use for their own enjoyment. And this puts us at a great privilege and a great responsibility because we get to shape the world in ways that we would like to see it being built. Technology is at the root of culture because with certain tools around, we behave differently. Just look at the last decades of how our technology has advanced and how our society and culture has changed. And we can now communicate with people around the globe, and we can travel freely and work from anywhere. All of a sudden, we can have conferences where we talk about this niche topic of Bitcoin. And this is a culture that is now emergent, one that was not possible before, where communication was limited, where we could not freely speak with each other. And so what are these tools that have enabled us to get here? And the root team that worked on these were the Cypherpunks, the heroes of the 1990s and early on, which discovered the use of cryptography to enable technologies that protect individual choice. And this was firstly expressed with private-public key cryptography, something that we're all familiar here with in Bitcoin. But it has privacy basically in the name. Here we have a secret, right? Just a large random number that we generate and with which we can do cool mathematical formulas, such as, for example, signing a message, proving that the person who knows the secret has also agreed to this message and signed it, so to say. This is the trick that we use in Bitcoin to prove ownership over the money that we have. By signing with your private key a Bitcoin transaction, you prove that you're the right person to choose how this money ought to be spent. You're enacting your privacy of choosing that, yes, my coins should go to this address and not any of the other addresses. This is how Bitcoin is using one of the key technologies from the early days of the cypherpunk to give choice back to individuals. But it's much more than that, because we cannot just generate a signature, we can also verify these signatures. And arguably, Bitcoin is a verification machine, right? A protocol where we define a set of rules that we then analyze transactions to be valid or not valid. And this means we can create a monetary system just by the choice of individuals on the set of rules that is being created and the transactions that people reveal to these others. Every Bitcoin transaction is broadcasted to the network of peers so that each of us can verify the authenticity of the money being spent and that the choice of the owner of this money has been reflected and agreed upon. So this means that we have great tools now to establish a monetary system that is based on choice, where users do have the privacy to not use the system or use the system. This is the first time, in human history, that we are seeing in real time a monetary system emerged from the free choice of individuals. Something that is, quite fascinating, because so far every other monetary system created by humans, fiat currencies, was enforced by dictate, where there was not a choice left to the individual of would you like to use this money or not. It was dictated from above that this is the currency that we will use from now on. So Bitcoin is a great experiment in privacy. If humans left alone to their own devices will make the right choice and protect themselves with tools and technologies that are to their own benefit. But nevertheless, Bitcoin is much more than the cypherpunk ethos behind Bitcoin is much more than just about money. In fact, the early talks of the cypherpunks were all about communication. How can we speak to others online in such a way that we are secure and protected? Because the early internet was in such a way that everything was public. Every message that was ever sent online could be read by the people and the computers who were passing the messages along. And so this meant that, sure, we could have public conversations and bulletin boards and talks, etc., but we could not really have intimate conversations. Conversations that you would like to have with your wife or your business partner. We could not do trade online, because when you do trade, you are doing it with one specific person and not with the entire world. So it was not possible to express yourself privately online back in the days. Well, that's where the cypherpunk came in and created these tools of cryptography to ensure that we can send one message from one person to another, knowing that nobody in between, nobody else who is passing along these messages can actually read the content. And this was a marvelous achievement, because it finally enabled us to have these most personal and direct conversations that humans long for. Very rarely do we actually stand on stage and speak in front of a large crowd. Most of our conversations are just between a couple people. And this is something that was not possible before, and that is now possible. And that means we have a great ability now to change our culture and get back the culture of cyberspace to be one that is much more reflected to how humans act in meat space, with focused conversations on a certain topic with a certain person. And having the ability to not speak to a certain person if you would choose so. However, what I guess we've also seen is that the cypherpunks have greatly underestimated the scale of the problem of an unencrypted internet. Because, in the early days it was, it would be nice if we could do trade and such. But what was, I guess, not anticipated is the extent of mass surveillance that can be instituted if the default interaction of users and their software is in a way that it is public for everyone by default. This is quite substantial because we've never really had a way to broadcast information to anyone who would like to have it. And this is, of course, a very powerful concept. But if we do this unaware, and if we are intending to have a private conversation with a certain person, but then we broadcast it unaware to the entire planet, well, this is all of a sudden a very different type of conversation to be had. And here we are then all of a sudden lacking the choice of whom we reveal information to. So, we had for a long time direct messages unencrypted on a certain server platform. Think of Facebook or Twitter, where here you do think that you're just writing to one specific person. But in fact, the server operator, any low-level employee, any middleman or your ISP, etc., can all of a sudden read the information that you were intending to be shared to just one specific person. And this might not be, you might not even be aware of this, right? Because it is in the user interface, of course, a direct message, and it doesn't have the picture of all the other middlemen next to the profile picture of the person you try to write. So the developers of the recent technologies have lacked to enable a strong default of security and sovereignty for their end users. Something that is quite important because defaults matter. They matter a lot. We all just want to use a tool as fast and efficiently as possible, and trying to change the settings and go into the nuances is something we rarely do, because usually the software just works, and that's good enough. But if real problems are hidden underneath a pretty user interface, then this is a real strong problem. So we can, however, now use the tools of the Cypherpunks, cryptography, peer-to-peer networks, etc., to build technology anew with strong principles of security and privacy in mind. And Bitcoin is one of such technologies. Bitcoin re-envisions what a money could be if we use strong signature schemes and hashing functions, etc., in order to establish this set of rules that can easily be verified by everyone. But what Bitcoin is lacking, and similar to the early internet, is that it is a very public network. Bitcoin has this interesting trade-off where the integrity of the monetary supply depends on the verification of every transaction of every other user. That means everyone can see the transactions that are happening, which is good if you want to verify, but it's quite bad if you just want to do your business privately. So nevertheless, we have found technologies that enable us to use this public network of Bitcoin in a private manner. Similar to how we have discovered encryption for communication, we have also discovered encryption for Bitcoin transactions to ensure that we have a private way of using this network in such a way that we do not need to reveal additional information that we don't want to. Now, and this, again, just having the technological capability of this available means that there is a choice, again, for the end user to express himself and to walk away from a system that does not treat him well. So this is a phenomenal and great achievement in computer science, that we now not just have a monetary system that is fully auditable and verifiable, but also one that can be transacted with privately in such a way that not too much information has to be shared. Yet, like many aspects in the Bitcoin ecosystem, however, depend on, well, the developers and service providers and educators, right? Single points of failure, so to say, people who easily stand out on the stage and outside of the crowd. And when these people have to advocate for the use of these secure technologies, they also stand at a high risk of being persecuted and suppressed, which is a phenomenal problem. We were lacking a culture that encourages the creation of private spaces. And this is arguably, again, because culture is downstream from technology, and we simply did not have the technology to create private spaces. But however, this has changed now, not just with Bitcoin and encryption, but also with Nostr or other decentralized and peer-to-peer technologies, where we can, in fact, build separate, unique cultures that do differentiate themselves and that do choose with whom they interact with. So now that we are at this crux where the technology of the old times has led to a culture that leads to surveillance and a lot of misery, we have now the technology to revert the course. But at this very moment in time, where these two cultures are clashing, it is very perilous time, and we need to ensure that the people contributing to technologies like these are secure and protected. So please step up and apply yourself, because the great thing about, or the great downside of surveillance is that the more information points you have, the easier it is to identify metadata and useful information from this data set. It's an exponential trend. More data is not just a bit better, it's a lot better. And that's scary, as we carry more and more cameras and microphones around with us. But on the other hand, as soon as we start opting out, the network effect of surveillance decreases exponentially as well. The exponential trend is greatly in our benefit because it gives us a large return on the choice of opting out. It's very similar to how Bitcoin has the network effects of money, of course, in the initial phases of bootstrapping, greatly in its disfavor. But on the other hand, the US dollar, as soon as someone is opting out, the value of it is decreasing exponentially. So we can use these network effects in our favor if we continue to build and work on technologies that change the culture in a way that improves the prosperity of individuals. And so this is a great opportunity to use Bitcoin and other technology stack today to enshrine a stronger future where we have, again, a culture of prosperity and hope and individual flourishing. And this is a great opportunity in time, and so let's find that treasure, which is privacy. Thank you very much.